jumped so hard she would have fallen if she hadn't put out a hand to save herself. Her book did slip. She grabbed it just in time.
Abby, I can't see you.
Here on the sofa, said Abby, blinking, half dazzled by Pacific sunlight.
What was that green?
What green? But Louis had already forgotten. It had been no more than a wingtip, a fan swirl of green parrot feathers. It had flickered into Louis's vision and left no imprint as it vanished. Louis vanished too. Abby was alone in the quiet room again. It felt strange to be back, to look around and notice that the light in the room was autumn faded and the wind had ceased to blow. She rubbed her eyes and found them stinging. Then, cautiously, tasted a tip of a finger. Salt. Chapter 1. In the beginning, and ever since her mother's car crash when she was just a year old, Abby had lived with her father, Theo. Granny Grace, Theo's mother, lived with them too. Granny Grace had been going to take a break from her work teaching and visit Jamaica when the accident happened. But she never did. She said she'd rather look after Abigail instead. At the same time, and ever since their father had decided he'd rather have no children and live in New Zealand, Max and Louis had lived with their mother, Polly. Abby and Theo and Granny Grace lived happily in a small sunny flat in one part of the city. Polly and Max and Louis lived just as happily in a small terraced house in another. These two sets of people didn't know each other. This all changed one afternoon when Max and his best friend Danny were in a fixing things mood and took apart their skateboards, cleaned out the gunk from the wheels and the axles, put them together again, and sprayed all the moving parts with expensive lubricating spray borrowed without asking from one of Danny's big brothers. Then they went outside to try them, and Louis went with them to watch. "They should go much faster," said Danny, and he dropped his board onto the pavement and gave a mighty launching off kick, and the front wheels could not have been fixed back on properly because Danny went hurtling down onto the concrete paving slabs just as Max got into action. Max's wheels stayed on, and his board was now spectacularly fast. Max mowed down Louis and went straight over Danny before he too hit the ground. Then Polly, hearing the roars, came rushing out of the house, and when she saw the boys all bleeding and wailing and blocking the pavement, she unhesitatingly took them to hospital in the old blue car she had painted herself with the tiger cushions in the back. Louis had 2 skin knees and a lump on his head like a great dark purple plum. Danny and Max had a broken arm each and various lesser injuries. But the chief thing that happened at the hospital was that Polly met Theo. Theo was the nurse in the accident and emergency department who oversaw the management of the skateboarding calamity. He did it with such admirable cheerfulness and calm that very soon the injured ones stopped feeling like woeful victims and became instead very pleased with themselves, fine adventurers and heroes all. "Thank you so much for popping in," Theo said at last, 6 or 7 hours later and pitch dark outside, when all the bandages, slings, plasters and stickers saying how brave people had been were finally in place. "It's been lovely," said Polly. "I've enjoyed every moment." Then Theo's smiling eyes gazed into Polly's sparkling ones. Gazed and gazed and gazed. "Do you believe in love at first sight?" asked Theo, unprofessionally. "Yes," said Polly. "I do." That was how the two families met, and a few